When we begin the sitting practice, we begin by focusing on posture. So if you're sitting on a chair, if you can, sit with your back away from the chair, feet planted on the floor, and if you're on the meditation cushion, comfortably sitting slightly forward on the cushion, allowing your eyes to close, or if you decide to have them open, just looking ahead toward the floor. But the most important thing is sitting both comfortably, upright, supported by the chair or the cushion, with your spine rising easily and naturally from the pelvis up toward the shoulders, feeling even a kind of a tug upward from the middle of the body. Sitting with dignity, upright, comfortable. So even though your spine rises out of the pelvis up toward the shoulders actually drop down and back a little. And the head rests comfortably with the chin down just a little, giving you a bit of a double chin. It's a feeling of being planted. And now letting your awareness move from posture to an awareness that you're breathing. And for this sitting practice, we'll focus on the breath at abdomen level. So the breath has been there all along, but we bring our awareness to it. Noticing the slight expansion of the abdomen on the in-breath and the slight deflation on the out-breath. So simply bringing awareness to the breath. Not needing to change the breath in any way. Just allowing the breath to breathe itself. As you follow the course of each breath. Bringing the full awareness of the in-breath and the out-breath. You may note the qualities of the breath. Is this breath rapid? Is it slow? Deep, shallow? Is it ragged or smooth? simply noting each breath, the breath that can only exist in this moment. Not bringing any criticisms or judgments of the breath. There isn't a correct breath or an incorrect breath. There's simply the breath that exists in this moment. In fact, the breath that anchors us into this moment. You may notice from time to time that your focus has moved away from the breath. It's gotten caught up in thoughts or body sensations or emotions. This is not a problem. Each time that you notice that the mind has moved away from the breath, you can simply note where the mind has gone and gently escort it back to a full awareness of the breath. So each time that you notice the mind has moved away from the breath, simply bring it back. The mind doesn't like to focus on any one thing for very long. And it will naturally begin to cast around, looking for some new thing to focus on, rather than staying with the breath. What we can do is simply notice where the mind goes and come back to the breath. Doesn't matter how many times the mind goes away from the breath. Each time is the same. We simply note where it's gone and gently bring awareness back to the breath. It doesn't matter how far away the mind has gone or how long it's been away from the breath. That's still all the same. We simply note where it's gone and come back to the breath. The experience of noticing that the mind has moved away from the breath, the experiencing of noticing where the mind has gone, is an experience of mindfulness. It is a part of the practice. It's not extraneous. So each time is an opportunity to notice where the mind goes, and just one more time coming back to the breath. The breath has been with us the whole time we've been alive. But despite this, it can only exist in the present moment when we bring awareness to it, and can act as an anchor for us back into the present moment at any time. So now, if you'd like, just allowing the breath to remain in the background. You can just allow awareness to move from a primary focus on the breath to awareness of the body. Just letting your primary focus move to awareness of the body as a whole. So in the same way that we focus on the body as a whole sometimes at the end of the body scan, just right now being with the body, the entirety of the body, just bringing sensory awareness to your body in this moment, however you find it. Just simply being present. With your body in this moment. And you may notice that a particular intensity may arise that calls to your attention in a particular part of the body. And if so, there are a couple of ways to think about and to manage intensity when it arises in the body during sitting practice. We we can always bring awareness to the particular part of the body where the intensity arises, whether it's knee or shoulder or wherever it happens to be. And just bring that same awareness that we bring to breath, that we brought to the raisin, to that particular part of the body. What are the qualities of that intensity? What are the characteristics? Simply bringing sensory awareness to whatever we find in that intensity in that part of the body. Without judgment, just simply exploring, bringing the attitude of curiosity and interest. Does the intensity remain the same? Does it change? Does it deepen, lighten? Following it in the present moment. Bringing curiosity to the event. Now, the other option that you always have also is to change positions of the body. And if you decide that you would like to change a position, you can still bring that awareness of intensity to that particular part of the body. Form an intention to change positions, and then remain connected, mindfully aware, moment to moment, as you change positions. And as you settle into the new position, that we don't have to turn off awareness while changing positions. We can remain connected even while the body is moving. And then settling back in once again to awareness of the body as a whole. When settled into the new position. In the same way that the goal is not that the mind never moves from the breath, or that we never change positions, is that these are natural events and we don't have to leave them out, but we can remain with them as they're part of the present moment. And now, if you'd like, you can let the focus move from the body as a whole to awareness of sounds. that we can use the sense of hearing as a connection with the present moment. And it isn't necessary that this be an awareness of acuity of hearing. How well you may feel that you hear is not what's important, but just simply awareness of whatever enters the ears and the mind. Not needing to identify what sounds are in awareness, but simply the qualities of the sounds. Maybe pitch, volume, tone. Again, without judgment, simply being present with whatever sounds you become aware of. Bringing that same attitude of neutrality, openness, curiosity to whatever sounds you're aware of. And if at any point you notice that your awareness has moved from simply noting sounds to having gotten caught up in identifying or thinking about or reacting to particular sounds, you don't have to make judgments about that. You can simply notice that when it occurs, when you become aware that your mind has moved away from the simple observation of sounds to thinking about a particular sound. That is a moment of mindfulness. And you can notice that and then return once again to the simple observation of sounds. That sounds like breath and body. Can be another way in which we can connect with the present moment of being alive. however it is we find that experience in each moment. And now, if you'd like, letting go of sounds as the focus. We can move into the awareness of thoughts. Noticing thoughts as they arise in the mind from moment to moment. And thoughts, like sounds, like breath, like experiences in the body, have a beginning and a middle and an end. And they give us the opportunity to observe the workings of the mind. So if you'd like, you can take some time to watch thoughts. You may do that simply by noticing a thought arising in the mind, observing it as it lasts, and then watching it as it just disappears. You might also watch thoughts as if they were clouds floating by in the sky, forming, changing shapes, and then disappearing. Or as if they were on a movie screen, flashing onto the screen and then disappearing. But however you would like to watch thoughts, it is possible to observe thoughts as events in the mind. And you could take some time to simply observe thoughts right now. And if from time to time you notice that you've moved away from simply observing thoughts to having gotten caught up in a particular thought, you can notice that also and return to simply observing thoughts. Because sometimes we can get caught up in a thought that we find particularly appealing, daydream, pleasant memory. And we notice after a while that we're no longer simply observing thoughts, but in fact, we're remaining in one, almost as if it wasn't a thought at all, but was really happening. And on the other hand, we sometimes can get caught up in thoughts that feel negative, unpleasant memories, worries, dreads. And we also can act as if those were really happening, as opposed to simply events in the mind. But in either case, this gives us the opportunity to mindfully become aware when we've gotten caught up in a particular thought whether positive or negative, and simply note that we've gotten carried away with it. And once again return to the simple observation of the life cycle of thoughts. Now letting go of thoughts, thoughts about thoughts, sounds, body, intensity in the body, and returning once again to our old friend, the breath. And simply bringing awareness to the fact that all this time we've been breathing. But also the breath that can only exist in this moment. So once again, simply bringing full awareness to the in-breath and the out-breath as it exists in this moment. Just being fully present. Just in the present moment, bringing awareness with your breath to this breath and this breath. As this sitting practice comes to an end.